Where's the emergency?
He calls 911 and he's yelling into the phone, "Help me, help me, he shot me."
This is the actual transcript from the 911 call.
Yes.
So he's running through the vineyard.
He is running through the vineyard and the shooter is in the truck, coming after him, shooting out the window.
This is crazy.
Crazy.
Who are these guys? These guys were a couple of rich, ambitious wine lovers who wanted to be in the business and own their own vineyards. Look, I have pictures. Here's Emad Tophilis. He's a smart guy from Silicon Valley who loved Hollywood. He even financed a movie. And here's the other guy, Robert Dahl, an operator who people said could make money grow on trees. In this case, vines.
Take one, A-Mark.
My name is Jonathan Kesselman. I'm a filmmaker.
Jimmy Vasco, there's a terrorist!
I was directing a film, and Emad was the principal investor in the film.
Emad made his money in Silicon Valley and then was looking for other things to invest in?
Yeah, I think, he made a good living, wanted to invest his money into things he was more passionate about. Movies, wine.
Robert Dahl, did he come with a dream?
Oh, definitely. He really did have the vision of having some form of a winery. Robert made me feel like we'd been friends forever.
Upon first meeting, you felt like that?
No, within like the first 10 minutes.
He was a very nice, outgoing, hardworking guy.
So it seemed like a good guy to partner up with.
Absolutely.
One time, I don't know how I ended up on the back of his motorcycle, and he looked out and he pointed at this mansion. And he said, "You know what? Greg and I are gonna make so much money that he's gonna be able to buy a house like this for you someday."
Everything seemed to be going great.
Oh, it was awesome. Yeah, perfect.
Until it all went wrong.
Yes.
And this is over money.
This is over money.
$800,000 in a gym bag?
Broken dreams, broken dreams.
Who lives? Who dies? It's an incredible tale of wine, money, and murder.
"48 Hours, Grapes of Wrath."
We have a male saying, "Help me, help me." Be advised, the subject saying that he has been shot again twice now.
It was a showdown between two millionaires, Robert Dahl and Emad Tophilis.
While the tales of a shocking murder in the Napa Valley, a bitter money dispute ends in an execution-style shooting. This all started at Dahl Vineyards on Solano Avenue. The victim was...
I mean, just look at this place, Napa Valley. Who wouldn't want a piece of this? That's what these two men wanted, and they went for it, but it ended in murder. So we came here to figure out what happened. And what we discovered is really interesting. It turns out that no less than 4 people thought that they could have ended up targets of the killer too.
Could have been me running through the vineyard and ducking from flying bullets.
I was probably number 1 on his list to kill.
My first thought was that could have very easily been Greg.
What do you think would have happened if you were there?
I think he would have killed me.
Hold on, let's just slow down for a second. How do you get from two ambitious guys trying to make it in the wine business to a murder mystery with 4 or 5 other potential victims? Well, we found a guy who can explain it all. Because his family has worked in these valleys for generations.
And he says he could have been a victim that day, too.
So is it customary if we visit to open a bottle of wine?
It's the only way that you can visit.
Sure.
Gotta have some wine. So
That's
cheers.
good. Cheers.
Meet Dominic Fapoli, pretty close to royalty around here.
Me and my brother and 2 sisters were the 4th generation in our family to be involved. I mean, our great-grandfather started doing this with grapes and making some wine in the early 1900s.
Now, he and his brother and sisters and friends run the Christopher Creek Winery.
We've known each other for all of our lives, and so we are family above and beyond.
Are there a lot of dreamers who come here?
Oh, yeah, big time. Tech tycoons, Wall Street guys, rock stars, movie people, and they all want to come and have a slice of this. And a lot of people see the glamorous side of it without, seeing the hard work that goes into it. The blood, sweat, and tears that it really takes to get to the point where we're at right now of drinking a great bottle.
How tough is it to break in?
It's very, very tough unless you're coming with a lot of money.
And then there's the matter of trust. Doing business in the wine country is often very personal.
Their word is their bond. You shake their hands, you look in their eye, and you're good.
You bond with a person and then maybe go into business with them?
Absolutely. That's a huge, huge part of it. So, because you need to know that you can trust that person.
But, as we'll find out, watch out if that bond is broken, because the stakes are high.
The money makes people crazy.
Lou Perdue is a tech entrepreneur and the most respected wine writer in Napa.
Money is intoxicating, and when you mix money and wine, I think you get intoxicated to the 2nd or 3rd power.
How often does it happen that somebody comes in with a lot of money and not so much knowledge about wine, but just wants to be a part of this?
Every day.
Every day.
Back in 2011, a guy named Robert Dahl was about to get drunk on all that money. He decided to leave Minnesota, where he had an unglamorous mold removal business, and become a Napa Valley wine entrepreneur.
He had a booming voice. He was always the loudest guy in the room.
Just a big presence.
Yeah, big presence.
Miles Davis is an electrician who worked for Dahl almost from the beginning of his time in Napa.
You were friends with him initially when he was doing what business?
Selling and buying grapes.
Selling and buying grapes. That's one way of saying Dahl was in the lower end of the wine business. He wasn't making fine wines. He was bottling no-name wine, making what they call shiners.
The shiner is a bottle that doesn't have a label. And then he'd sell you that fruit. You put your own label on it.
Was he a good salesman?
Oh, great salesman.
Great
He could sell anyone.
So the wine didn't even have to really be that good. He could sell it.
Well, it never was really that good.
And he talked a good game.
He talked a great game.
And you knew enough to know that he didn't know a lot.
I knew that he had a good line of BS, which is fine, and it made him funnier.
It was part of his charm that he could BS?
Yeah, I loved it about him.
Dahl had moved to wine country with his wife and 3 children.
His family's amazing. They're just wonderful people. His wife's a very sweet, loving woman. The kids are amazing. In fact, they call me their godfather.
Within a couple of years, his bottling business was a big success, and Dahl liked to show it.
He showed up at my office with $10,000 and said, "Let's buy a Harley."
I'm sorry?
He showed up at my office and
with $10,000 in cash?
And said, "We're buying a Harley. You pay me back in the next few months or whenever." That's Robert. He was all about stuff like that.
Did he seem concerned about money?
No, never.
So it was in 2011 that Robert Dahl took his next big step toward his dream of making it big in the wine business. He linked up with that prince of the wine country, Dominic Fapoli.
I had met some people from Asia who were looking into getting into importing California wine.
Fapoli was young. He didn't have his own personal vineyard yet, and he needed more product.
So I went over. I couldn't literally package wine fast enough because I didn't have my own facility. And so I met Robert. He was very new to this. but he was willing to work really, really hard. And he had a genuineness that he could project that made you want to trust him, made you want to like him.
Over the next year, Fapoli and Dahl became close.
We'd go out to dinner and hang out. And as a friend, he was always there. I could text him at 11 o'clock at night, and he'd get back to me.
Business was good. And one day, Dahl made him a proposition.
He called me up and said, hey, there's this place in your neck of the woods.
They'd buy their own vineyard.
And so I came over and I met him here, and I looked at this view in the vineyards, and literally an hour after sitting down with him, we drank a bottle of wine on this deck. I said, I'm in, let's do this.
Fapoli staked everything he had on this partnership, even his house.
You know, I said, this is something I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have to go all in, and I need you to be all in too. And he said, I got you.
Fapoli didn't think it would be a stretch for Robert Dahl.
I assumed that this was a fun little side project for him. I never had any reason to doubt that he was doing tremendously well.
Did you feel like he had your back?
Oh, completely. There was not, I didn't doubt for a second.
But almost as soon as the vineyard deal with Fapoli was closed, Dahl was looking for the next big thing. Sharing ownership in a vineyard wasn't good enough. He wanted to be the boss. To do that, he needed new partners. And then he found just the man he was looking for. A man with connections to the bright lights of Hollywood. With a gym bag full of money.
I directed a film called Jimmy Vesford, American Hero.
It was a comedy.
It's a comedy starring a comic named Maz Jobrani.
I'm Jimmy Westwood, like Clint Eastwood, but Westwood.
Very funny film.
Hello, Mr. Carr.
Director and screenwriter Jonathan Kesselman was shooting the film's wedding scene when one of the extras struck up a conversation.
While we're sort of in between setups, we started talking. And he said, hi, I'm Imad, I'm the investor in the film. And just a really nice guy, we chatted.
Imad Tawfilis was a young businessman from Silicon Valley.
What kind of actor was he?
He was a better humanitarian than an actor. He was a good extra. He was very good. He hit his marks.
Imad was principal investor in the film. He put up about $200,000, and Kesselman became friendly with him.
He was like a business person in tech, and I think he was excited to be not a corporate guy anymore. He had sort of made a lot of money, and he was tired of it and wanted to sort of explore other things in his life, things that he had passion for.
One of those passions was film. The other was wine. Imad invited his new film director friend and his wife to the fancy home he owned near the wine country.
It was just, I love wine, you guys like wine, let's go wine tasting. He actually gave us his bedroom. His bedroom was very flashy. Like his bathroom he had redone, like there was a television inside the mirror of the bathroom. Like he was very excited about his bathroom.
But wine was more than a passion for Imad. It was a driving ambition. In 2011, Imad Tawfilis got to know Robert Dahl, and they talked about the dream they shared of making it big in the wine business.
But this story isn't just about wine, it's about cash. Close to $1 million in cash. Now, if you're wondering what that looks like, well, so were we. So we got some Hollywood prop money, which looks a lot and feels a lot like the real thing. And this is how Robert Dahl did his next deal. $800,000 in cash in a gym bag.
The money came from that movie investor, Imad Tawfilis. In 2013, according to Imad, Robert told him that returns on his investment would be big. And if he invested cash, they'd get better deals. Imad was jumping into business with Robert Dahl with both feet.
It sounds like the perfect match. Robert, who supposedly knows about wine but doesn't have the money, and then Imad, who doesn't know a lot about wine but has the cash.
Exactly.
Remember, Dahl had already started a vineyard business with Dominic Fapoli, but that wasn't enough for him. Shortly after Dahl's partnership with Fapoli began, it ended. There'd been problems. Now Dahl wanted his own thing. He wanted his name on the bottle. Imad was going to make that happen. His investment, which now totaled $1.2 million, would help launch Dahl Vineyards. Imad was finally a player, and Dahl was center stage.
Welcome to Dahl Vineyards in lovely Yountville, California.
He's a salesman. It's a show.
Did people seem like they were having a good time?
Oh, yeah, always. He pours good wine, and he pours it well, and
generously.
And it was a nice product. He did a nice job on that winery.
And the business prospered, so much that Dahl was soon able to repay Emad part of his investment.
And that's the thing. Everything that Robert Dahl touched seemed to be turning out golden. And it was happening so fast. Now, armed with Emad Tafilis's money, Dahl was on his way to being everything he wanted to be, the big man in Napa.
Did he exude confidence? He exuded confidence. Oh my gosh, like nobody I've ever met before in my life.
That same year, Dahl started up another brand new business with that Napa couple, Francine and Greg Knittel.
This is just an abstract vineyard scene.
They'd been pursuing their passions in Napa for years. Francine did her art.
So Napa clearly inspires you.
Yes, definitely.
And Greg's construction business.
This is one of our custom remodels.
Oh, this is beautiful.
Built some of the area's nicest homes and tasting rooms.
Oh, look at the ceiling. It's like the Sistine Chapel. Some of this stuff I feel like we can't show on television, but...
Life was good.
Every time we come home, we just say to each other, look at where we live. We're so blessed.
And there was no hesitation when the new guy, Robert Dahl, came into their lives.
He was very outgoing, charismatic, hardworking.
Very hardworking.
So it seemed like a good guy to partner up with.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Dahl and the Knittels started a craft beer brewery, a business that created fancy, handmade beers. Greg was a handy partner for Dahl. His construction company built the brewery.
What did he promise you?
Well, that we were going to have a reputable business that we would be able to hand off to our kids.
And he pointed at this mansion that's right off the Silverado Trail. And he looked back at me and he said, you know what? Greg and I are going to make so much money that he's going to be able to buy a house like this for you someday.
The business was off to a good start. They added a brew pub.
I mean, we had the best beer ever. Our restaurant was booming. The brewery was within 3 or 4 months. It was incredible. It was incredible.
Francine and Greg even became close friends with Dahl and his wife, Janelle.
We did everything together for a year, and it was it was going really well, really, really well.
He liked to live well. You know, he couldn't live in a 3,000 square foot house. It had to be a 5,000 square foot house.
It was all about looks.
He didn't have to have one brand new motorcycle. He had to have 2 brand new motorcycles. I'm sure you'll play the video of him after the Napa earthquake.
In fact, I have that video right here. This was taken after the 2014 earthquake in Napa.
If an East Coaster's thinking about coming to Napa for harvest season to have some nice wine and have a few dinners, is it time to call that vacation off?
Oh, absolutely not. Everything is back going in wine country. It's a great time to visit wine country, see some grapes being crushed, taste some fresh juice, and really take in the wine lifestyle.
Man, listening to him, it almost sounds like he could be the mayor of Napa. But things aren't always exactly as they appear to be.
Remember Dominic Fapoli, Dahl's former partner? Dominic had been running the winery, and Dahl was running the books.
We're selling a bunch of wine. I mean, the winery was a hit, but there wasn't enough money to keep paying our bills, which I didn't understand, I didn't get.
Where's the money going?
Where's the money going?
Where's the money going? That was the question plenty more people in the wine country were about to start asking. By 2014, the new Dahl Vineyards seemed to be taking off. Robert Dahl and Emad Tafilis, the two ambitious entrepreneurs, were living their dreams. Robert himself running the show.
Greetings from Dahl Vineyards.
And Emad, silent partner, providing the money.
Enjoy.
But what Emad didn't know was partnerships with Robert Dahl had a way of turning sour. Remember Robert's first vineyard, the one he shared with Dominic Fapoli? One day, Dominic got a phone call from their lender.
I'm starting foreclosure proceedings on you guys.
Foreclosure proceedings?
Foreclosure, yeah, because we had missed our first payment to him as for the winery. So I called Robert and he said, you shouldn't be worried about that. I've got all that covered. And I said, are you kidding me?
Fapoli went ballistic.
And this is my dream and we were successful in everything we were doing.
His life savings and reputation were on the line. He had to get rid of Dahl.
So my family and my partners, my brother and my best friends, and came around and said, we'll do whatever we need to do and let's get this guy out.
Fapoli got control of the vineyard, but he had to pay Dahl to go away. He was bitter.
You know, I introduced him as my partner and my friend. So I brought him into that circle of trust that we have here. Everybody welcomed him with open arms because I vouched for him. I had never been burned before. I was naive.
And it turns out Fapoli wasn't the only one.
No one that ever put money into something that he was doing was ever going to get anything back.
Steve Birch knows. He's a winemaker who worked for Dahl. Back when Dahl looked like he was the golden boy of wine country, Birch introduced him to celebrities. For the comic and TV personality Adam Carolla,
thank you so much for enjoying this.
He bottled a sangria called Mangria.
We made money on it, but I know that there was a significant amount of payment for that Adam never received.
And there was the rapper E40.
You a loser? No. Winner? Yeah.
He had Dahl package some wines for his label, Earl Stevens Wines.
We started his product and it went really well, but I know he wasn't paid either.
No.
And there was Birch himself.
I left with him owing me a lot of money.
Can you give me a ballpark?
Yeah, we'll say it was well over $10,000.
The same thing happened to Dahl's friend, electrician Miles Davis. Dahl owed him $15,000.
Did you ever see that money?
No.
But you were friends with him again?
Yeah, because he's a great, yeah, I'm fine with that. I mean, it wasn't about the money. It was about, there was concerns that he was in trouble. So I didn't feel like my little $15,000 was anything to worry about.
Because he was getting underwater.
Yeah.
Did you say anything?
No.
No?
No.
Did you figure he'd find a way out of it?
Yep. I hoped he would.
And then there was Francine and Greg Knittel. Just a few months after the successful debut of the brewery they started with Dahl and a well-known brewmaster, the business started slipping.
I got the first inkling that Dahl wasn't what he says he was because a friend of mine went to his brewery, and I put quotes around that, because the friend of mine liked craft beer, and he wasn't making beer at his quote-unquote brew pub.
Apparently, by the time Lou's friend stopped by for a drink, the brewery was no longer making its own beer.
He wasn't making beer at the brewery?
No, he was buying kegs from somebody else. And when this friend of mine came face to face and told him about that, he just went ballistic.
Like he'd been found out.
Like he had been found out.
Dahl's partners, Francine and Greg, say they didn't know what Dahl was up to at the brewery, and they were shocked when Dahl came in one day and announced he was shutting down the whole thing.
Robert's sitting there and he goes, guys, the brewery's not making enough money. I'm going to close the doors.
Francine and Greg say they not only lost $250,000 of their own money, they'd encouraged friends to invest too. And unlike Miles Davis, they felt personally betrayed by their friend, Robert Dahl.
What gets to you the most?
Somebody that we trusted had this capability, Robert knew the whole time gonna pretty much screw us over.
But no one felt more ripped off than Emad Taufilis. He thought he'd invested more than $1 million in a vineyard. Instead, Dahl diverted the cash, spending it on his lavish lifestyle, the brewery business, just about anything else.
Dahl had stopped paying back the money he borrowed, and Taufilis hired a lawyer. He was angry, he wanted his money, and he wanted to find out everything he could about Robert Dahl.
You amassed a pile of information about Robert Dahl.
This is the pile of liens that Robert had against him. Civil judgment from Ford Motor Company, $19,000. Allied Building Products Company, $61,000. $53,000, $7,900.
Oh my goodness.
So
Imad hired Dawn King, who has her own special niche in Napa Valley.
well, I'm a private investigator here in Napa, and I was an FBI agent for 10 years.
An FBI agent?
Yes.
So you can smell a rat?
Well, I like to put rats in prison anyway.
Don started digging.
So he was just not paying his bills. I mean, he was just like, charging credit cards. Here's the Federal Credit Union, $53,000. And then you get into his lawsuits.
A lot of what Don discovered happened back in Minnesota during the years before Dahl came to Napa. But to Don, it told a story.
This is the theft, one of his theft charges.
One of his theft charges?
Yeah, he had two. This was the theft by swindle. So
he actually was convicted of theft by swindle.
He was.
Thefts and swindles got Dahl thrown into jail, not once, but twice back in Minnesota, and left him a convicted felon.
I mean, this guy was a criminal.
Now, here in the wine country, Dahl seemed to be scamming again. Every time he'd get a business investment, the money seemed to go right into his pocket.
Was this kind of a Ponzi scheme?
Yeah, to some extent. I mean, except that no one got paid. It's usually in a Ponzi scheme, the first people in get paid.
But at this point,
But no.
Robert did.
Right, Robert got paid, but Robert spent all the money.
In 2014, wine reporter Lou Perdue began to uncover the swindles Robert Dahl was pulling right here in Napa Valley. He started blogging what he found, and guess who responded?
And those are his comments.
Robert Dahl.
Those are his comments, and then he starts to rant paragraph.
Oh, I see this, the
by
caps
paragraph,
in red.
By paragraph.
Oh my goodness.
Everything in big red capital letters just keeps coming.
Oh my goodness.
And it
This
comes,
is like one of those magic scarves.
And it comes just ranting and ranting and ranting. I think I measured this at 26 feet.
And what did this say to you?
This says to me the guy was off his nut.
Things were really heating up. Both sides were suing, and it looked as if things were headed for a showdown.
Ahmad was just like so crazed, and he was becoming like a desperate man. Oh my gosh. I mean, I used to get 10, 15, 20 phone calls a day.
Imad Tawfilis was angry, very angry. He wanted his whole investment back, but it wasn't looking good.
How desperate was Imad?
He was a desperate man. On a scale from 1 to 10, he was about a 9.
He was not going to let someone like Robert Dahl take advantage of him and bully him into being submissive.
Attorney David Weisblood.
Imad came to me saying, I have this problem. So I looked at it and said, yeah, you have a problem. So we devised a strategy.
That strategy was to hammer Robert Dahl in court and force him to pay up.
So the strategy was file a lawsuit in Napa to basically get control of the collateral and to prevent stuff from disappearing.
That collateral was mostly the wine tanks and all the equipment used to make the wine.
And what happened?
Robert didn't roll that. Well, what happened, I had, in a 4-month period, 19 court appearances in the Napa court, which is crazy. I mean, the short answer is the Napa court issued an injunction against Robert saying, you can't sell inventory, which in effect should have shut down his winemaking and wine selling operations.
That all belongs to Imad, basically.
Right, pretty much.
Even though Imad was winning in court, Robert Dahl was doing everything he could to cheat. He was even secretly taking equipment and trying to sell it off.
Well, Robert at that point had started hiding equipment, hiding whatever he could. He started moving stuff.
But Robert Dahl's attorneys, Jasmine Dwal and Kusha Barakim,
there's a lot more than the headlines,
say Dahl was a clever businessman, but he was no crook.
You think Robert's mindset was, I'm going to take this, but I'll be able to pay it back and everything's going to be okay.
Absolutely. I think he had every intention to pay back the entire loan.
Dahl's lawyers believed Dahl was a stand-up guy, that classic all-American risk-taking entrepreneur who puts it all on the line and at the last minute comes out a hero.
The business was growing, and it was not a Ponzi scheme or house of cards.
I was shown a document that says Robert Dahl was convicted of swindle in Minnesota.
If you look at that document again, you will see that that goes back to when he was about 19 or 21 years old or so.
But still, people look at that and say, once a con man, always a con man.
Robert definitely had his share of failed ventures before as well.
But you don't think that proves that he's a thief?
Not at all. A thief takes money and runs with it. A thief doesn't go to court. He was a risk taker, and when you take risks, sometimes you end up harming other people as well. But our system is set up for that.
In the wine business, Dahl's lawyers say, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. And they insist Imad Tawfilis was the real villain in this business deal.
You think this was a scam for Imad?
Absolutely. How would one come up with that much cash, and why?
It's still a mystery where all that cash came from. But Dahl's lawyers say Imad was so angry, he was determined to destroy Robert Dahl's business.
His barrels of wines were taken. His cars were taken. His brewing systems were taken. He was in an impossible place.
With no business to operate, Dahl couldn't earn any money to pay off the debts he owed to Imad and others. And then, surprisingly, there was a breakthrough. It looked as if Imad might get more of his money back.
The lawyers had come to a deal, and Imad and Robert were going to get together to hammer out the details. Robert wanted to meet here at his vineyard.
I went to my office Monday morning, and I get a phone call from Imad. David, I've decided to go to the winery.
On that morning, I was on the phone, and Imad's attorney was on the phone.
Imad and Robert were there in person. Their attorneys joined them on a conference call.
There was a definite agreement on what was going to be paid to Imad. It was just so eerily calm.
It was eerily calm.
It was eerily calm.
But then Robert Dahl rocked the boat.
And he said, well, I don't give an S what the lawyers negotiated. This is my offer.
What seemed to be a nearly done deal suddenly started unraveling.
Which was several $100,000 less than what was agreed to.
The lawyers felt it was a breakdown that Imad and Robert should deal with themselves.
They were both business savvy, and this was something that they both could have easily handled.
So both lawyers got off the phone. Both expected to hear right back from their clients.
20 minutes go by.
We had no idea what was going on.
I don't hear from Imad.
I was expecting a call.
Then I got an email saying there was a shooting.
I got a call from Mr. Weisblatt. He said, Kusha, tell me this didn't really happen.
You thought Imad lost it?
I thought Imad lost it.
We both thought that.
That's the winery up at the end of the row.
Down at the end of the row there?
Yeah, up at the end of the row.
On March 16th, 2015, Imad Tawfilis and Robert Dahl had finally gotten together to try to settle their ugly dispute.
They'd been meeting one-on-one in a room inside that barn over there at Dahl Vineyard. The lawyers were on the phone on a conference call, but just a few moments after everything started, they hit a snag.
Imad wanted to settle it, and Dahl wanted to settle it.
But something went wrong.
Clearly, they can't come to an agreement down there in the vineyard.
Not only couldn't they come to an agreement, all hell breaks loose. There's a burst of gunfire, and evidence shows the men come tumbling out of the barn. One has a gun. He's firing. The other man is wounded, running for his life into the vines.
They can't agree, and suddenly one person takes off down these rows, like in between these grapes here. Running through here.
Emad and Robert both take off, one hunting the other.
Running down the row, being pursued by the other one who is shooting at the guy who became the victim.
Is shooting through these grapes just as the guy's running.
It's a wild chase, something out of a movie. The hunted man desperately dials 911.
He's calling 911 as he's running through the vineyard.
He's still running even though he's been shot. So what does the shooter do?
The shooter knows he can't catch the victim, so he goes back to the winery, gets in his car, and drives over, hoping to cut the victim off as the victim runs out. As the victim gets here, he tells 911 that he can see the deputies arriving here.
So he's saved. He can see the deputies.
And the shooter comes around, gets out of his car, and shoots the victim in the head with a fatal shot as the police cars are arriving.
So the shooter gets out, basically stands over the guy?
Yes. Delivers the coup de grace.
While the sheriff's deputies were right there.
The sheriff's deputies were arriving right at this corner.
And this is where it all ended. The winery these two men had dreamed of building together. Emad Tawfilis was lying dead on the ground, murdered by Robert Dahl.
He knows it's all over. I mean, he knows that no matter what he does, he's been caught. He can't talk his way out of it. So he gets in the vehicle, drives up a terrible road here where there are very few outlets, and as the police are closing in on him, he shoots himself in the head and kills himself.
Kills himself.
All over. The final bad life choice on a crooked life that's led all the way back to Minnesota.
It's hard to say what set Robert Dahl off that day. It certainly seems the crime was premeditated. Dahl had brought a gun, and remember, he was a convicted felon and he wasn't allowed to own one. And at that final meeting, he pulled out a bizarre document that he wanted Tawfilis to sign, a document that seemed almost insane.
That was basically a manifesto that Emad was trying to ruin his life. This was supposed to be a confession by Emad that it was all a hoax and it was all his fault.
So the idea is Robert pulls out this crazy manifesto and says, sign this.
And he pulls out a gun and says, sign this.
There was evidence that Dahl may have been ready to kill more people.
Duct tape, flex cuffs, a tarp, gloves.
And there was ammo, more than 750 rounds.
A magnetic gun holder that goes on a car.
So you can hide the gun.
Yeah. To me, that is a murder kit. I mean, plain and simple.
I think he was trying to figure out how to kill the people that had brought him down.
And that theory fits what we've discovered here in Napa. In the course of our reporting, so many people told us they too could have been victims. There was Don King, the dirt-digging private eye.
Could have been me running through the vineyard. Could have been.
Lou Perdue, the dogged wine journalist.
And I think I was probably number one on his list to kill because I was the guy who blew the whistle on everything.
Francine and Greg Knittel, who filed a criminal case against Dahl.
My first thought was that could have very easily been Greg.
And Emad Tawfilis' attorney, David Weisblood.
It certainly could have been me. And I'm sure that it would have been.
There was even that prince of the wine country, Dominic Fapoli. You think he would have killed you too?
Oh, yeah.
Finally, we were left with one more question.
This month's Wine Club shipment includes our...
How could Robert Dahl have convinced all these people to believe in him?
Robert Dahl was an Academy Award-winning actor when it comes to convincing people to trust him.
How did he not get found out?
Nobody checked.
People like this, they keep
Exactly.
moving, destroy somebody else's life for their own good, their own benefit.
Imad Tawfilis's murder haunts almost everyone he knew in the wine country.
You think about this case every day?
I do, yeah. 2 years plus.
Dominic Fapoli says back when he and Dahl were still partners, he tried to warn Imad.
I said, I want to give you a heads up. I'm having all these issues with Robert.
You warned him?
Yeah, we sat here on this deck and, and talked.
How did you hear about what he did?
Somebody pulled up their phone and they showed me the article when it happened. I was just in shock. And immediately, honestly, I started crying, and it was a mix of guilt because I guess I didn't do enough to warn Imad about him.
Jonathan Kesselman, the director, felt deeply about Imad.
He was a really sweet, kind, generous guy, and I just felt I needed to say that, just so it's on the record. There's some legacy of Imad where, he was remembered. He was a good person.
As for Robert Dahl, he may have shown up in Napa with a grand vision. But in the end, he brought his dreams and those of so many around him crashing down.
He wanted to be that guy that had a vineyard and had wine with his name on it. He wanted to live the life of the big fish. He was a little fish.
This is not your typical wine story.
No, it isn't. And one that we don't want to hear about around here again, for sure.
It was a beautiful wedding. We had a wonderful relationship. I was very in love, very in love. Very, very in love.
Gary had a very big personality. He was a big gambler, and he loved it. When they first met, she claimed that Gary had told her, I'm worth 10 million, 20 million. It was in the high millions.
Gary Triano. He'd been a hugely successful financial developer and entrepreneur. He was doing tribal gambling business.
That money, which he got every month, was big money.
The tribe and himself did not agree on certain things. He was basically forced out of his gambling connection. He was on a downward spiral financially, and there were people who were upset with him.
Your husband, he owed a casino in Las Vegas several $1 million, $1.8 million to an ex-wife, $91,000 to an attorney, hundreds of thousands of dollars to a group of Mexican investors who people said were involved in criminal activity.
Probably.
November 1st, 1996 at the La Paloma Country Club. It's a luxury resort, spa, and a fantastic golf course. Gary Triano finishes playing a game of golf, walks to his car, and there's an explosion.
There's some kind of an explosion in the country club parking lot. I guess it's a massive fire.
What kind of bomb are we talking about?
We're talking about a pipe bomb, an extremely large pipe bomb compared to what is normally out there.
Was this survivable?
No.
Gary Triano didn't have a chance.
He was a dead man.
I was absolutely hysterical. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what am I gonna do?
But you must have asked, who could have killed Gary?
I immediately thought, who is it that he hadn't paid? Before the bombing, Gary was totally in fear. Going around with a gun. He had life threats. I had life threats. The children had life threats. We're talking about Mexican mafia people you don't cross. There was serious, serious things going on.
I saw the list. It was titled a kill list, and it had names, and Gary Triano was at the top.
Did Pam ever talk to you about Gary's business associations with organized crime?
Never.
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 She was one of your closest friends. No talk about mob-related people.
Never.
Threatening phone calls at the house.
That's absurd.
She felt unsafe. She felt her children were under threat.
No, I don't believe that ever happened. I think that's just completely made up.
Do you believe Pam would have done anything for money?
Well, yeah.
I'm Peter Van Sant. Tonight on 48 Hours, The Hit. It was back in the 90s, and Pam Phillips and her husband, Gary Triano, were living large. Here in the posh foothills of Tucson, they were rich. Gary was a wheeler dealer, creating businesses, running Indian bingo, playing a lot of golf. And some say Gary was rubbing shoulders with wise guys.
He was flamboyant in a way that I wouldn't normally fall for.
She sold commercial real estate.
I was worth, I think, $1.8 million, $2 million in there. Made it totally on my own.
They were socialites with connections. Connections like their celebrity pals, Donald and Marla Trump.
Marla I love. Marla is like an angel. And Donald I adore as well. And he is one of the funniest people to be around you can imagine.
Donald and Marla came, and actually they took him to a basketball game together.
Laura Chapman was part of the gang, a friend.
We love our Wildcats. We're big, huge Wildcat fans here.
University of Arizona.
Absolutely. And it was in the paper the next day, here's Gary and Pam walking down the steps with Donald and Marla.
Gary and Pam married in 1986. They had a couple of kids and settled into a comfortable life.
When she and Gary were married, Pam didn't even work. She lived a very pampered lifestyle, and Gary provided that for her.
Tell me about going to Vegas with Gary and Pam.
That was a trip. It was a lot of fun. He had his own plane, so he would fly us in.
What kind of plane?
It was just a small jet. It was like
Just a small jet.
Just a small jet.
Lifestyles of the rich and famous.
Absolutely.
But all that glitters is not, well, you know the story. And after 7 years of marriage, things fell apart. Gary was pushed out of the Indian bingo, and his personal gambling debts skyrocketed. In 1993, Pam and Gary separated and eventually divorced. She moved to Aspen, he stayed in Tucson. Until that day, November 1st, 1996.
The bomb was so powerful, it literally sent debris flying 200 yards into the air. The windshield actually flew over these trees and into the swimming pool area.
Just 5 days before Gary's 53rd birthday.
Gary definitely was a target.
Gene Reedy is a Pima County investigator.
Gary suspected he was being followed and told people he was being followed by an individual that was driving a green Jeep-type SUV.
Was that vehicle seen on the day Gary Triano was murdered?
There's a similar vehicle, or the specific vehicle was seen up at La Paloma Resort.
That's where the bomb went off.
Where the bombing happened, that's correct.
We're on an explosives range in the remote mountains of New Mexico. Over those hills, about 40 miles from here, is where they detonated the first atomic bomb. These ATF agents,
watch your strap.
They worked the Triano bombing and came up with some crucial clues.
This is the exact location where the device was when it detonated and murdered Gary Triano.
Gary Triano had just finished 18 holes with a pal. He walked to his car.
When he entered the car, he leaned over and seen this unknown bag that was sitting here exactly where it's at right now.
And like anybody, he probably reached over and grabbed it, right?
He did.
What's this?
ATF bomb expert Tony May.
This is a reconstruction of the device.
And Special Agent Tom Mangan.
When you look at something this size, they say this is overkill.
Recreated the bomb at our request.
I'll get into his car.
Here we go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Lead the way.
Yep.
Let's check out the damage.
Look at the blast pressures, Tony.
Yeah.
Look at that. This is all pieces from this last blast.
Correct.
What we're looking at here.
Correct.
But for you guys, this is all evidence.
This is all evidence, but from here we have to sort out what is car parts and what is bomb parts.
Right. You know,
if you see anything from the bomb.
This is an end cap from the pipe bomb itself. Look at the frag pattern on this door.
Frag pattern being these holes.
Frag pattern being these holes.
Right now we're looking at the seat of the explosion. And the explosion itself. Right, and you see the fragmentation.
Was this survivable?
No. It was quick, it was calculated, and it was murder.
This is an exterior door panel that's been blown off.
There are people who look at this circumstance and say, this looks like a classic mob hit.
Right, with the bombing. Everybody looked at that and said, that's a signature mob hit.
Detective James Gamber has been on the case from day one.
I was 2 months into homicide.
And you get one of the biggest cases in Tucson history.
We continue to work it for 18 years.
18 years of your life.
Yes.
It took so long because it's been an unusually tangled story, filled with endless leads and with curious characters, many with their own theories. Characters like Dr. Lawrence D'Antonio.
I'm a family physician here in Tucson, Arizona. I've known Gary Triano since I was a little boy.
He's also convinced mobsters killed Gary Triano because he says Gary owed them money and wouldn't pay.
He's a very flamboyant man, and he's also very good looking, but he's rotten to the core. He was a con man. He was a thief, and he would rob or steal from anybody, including his own family, his own wife. That's the way he was.
Dr. D'Antonio says Triano associated with known criminals, like the infamous mafia boss Joe Bonanno, who retired in Tucson.
Gary Triano's first business was financed by Joseph Bonanno.
Was Gary Triano living in a dangerous lifestyle?
Oh, absolutely. Gary carried a gun all the time.
And Dr. D'Antonio says he has even seen proof that Gary Triano was on a kill list.
There were a lot of names on this list, and some names would come and go, but Gary Triano was always at the top.
The minute the doctor heard about the bombing, he was sure who did it.
I was absolutely sure that Gary Triano had just been murdered by Neil McNeese.
You like the old gumshoe. You like to get out, talk one-on-one to people?
I'm old style. I blend in, I fit in, I try and make people comfortable.
Investigator Gene Reedy was trying to help Pam Phillips finger the man who he believed killed her ex.
I'll tell you what I think happened. I think Gary really burned someone really good, and somebody was really upset, and someone was going to kill him.
He's got a pretty good idea of who that someone was.
This man here is the man that orchestrated this.
Like Dr. D'Antonio, Reedy thinks the killer is a man named Neil McNeese.
When Neil McNeese was on drugs, he was a completely psychotic, insane guy.
All I ever met in his world, his entourage, was drug dealers, drug addicts, strippers, prostitutes, and bad guys. He had a lot of bad guys that worked for him.
McNeese was a rich kid. He'd inherited millions from his family's uranium mining fortune. He also owned a piece of an Indy race car team. But Dr. D'Antonio, who once was McNeese's personal physician, says his patient slipped into an even faster lane.
He was heavily on drugs, and his drugs were cocaine and heroin.
And that's when the trouble started. According to D'Antonio, the beef between McNeese and Gary Triano was over a huge diamond ring.
A gorgeous diamond wedding ring. And this thing was magnificent. And Gary pitched it as a $250,000 ring.
As the doc tells it, Triano needed cash. So he offered up his wife's $250,000 wedding ring to McNeese as collateral for a loan. But there was a problem. The diamond was a fake. And when McNeese realized he'd been scammed, all hell broke loose.
And Neil went absolutely crazy. And he started to tell me, I'm going to kill him, I'm going to kill him. And he said, and when I kill Gary Triano, it will be spectacular. The whole world will know I killed him.
Gary Triano owed him a debt, and I believe that's why Gary Triano was killed.
Reedy says he's got it all figured out.
I'm taking to where I believe the bomb was built.
Let's go inside. This place looks like a movie set. Thousands of parts, heavy machinery.
He has everything here that could be used to build the bomb. We found at least 6 pieces of the puzzle within this drawer right here. We found the shotgun shells, we found bearings, the same type of powder that was used in the bomb. We found the Radio Shack receipts. Right
linked
there.
all this together.
That linked all this together.
Reedy says the man who built the bomb, right here in this shop, was a model airplane hobbyist named Jerry Capuano.
This is his bomb builder. He built the bomb.
Reedy's theory of the crime is this. The bad boy millionaire McNeese put together a whole hit team to go after Gary Triano. It was a bunch of lowlifes.
This is his bodyguard who orchestrated and got the hit crew together with these 2 guys. And these 2 guys have a past criminal history. They're complete thugs.
McNeese and his bodyguard also had a criminal history. They were convicted of extortion for threatening another man who owed McNeese money.
This is where Gary came the day of his death.
This is where Gary came to play golf.
Reedy says he has found a witness who saw that hit team right here in the parking lot.
Directly next to Gary Triano, when the bomb went off, there was an individual in a vehicle who was sitting there reading a magazine. Now, he was looking in his mirror, and he saw an individual back by the bushes. He also saw another individual straight ahead up on this knoll directly in front of us that we're pulling around to.
And you believe that person was doing what?
I believe those 2 people were involved in the bombing.
So, to sum up this tangled story so far, millionaire businessman Gary Triano gets in big trouble with mobsters, and they kill him. Case closed, right? Well, not really. That's just the opening scene of this mystery.
Turns out, lead detective James Gamber doesn't buy Reedy's mob hit theory.
They were all looked at and discounted.
Police didn't believe the whole diamond ring story. They didn't buy the bomb factory or the hit team, and they didn't believe any of the other mob hit theories either.
The Mexican group, the financial group, discounted, just a bad business deal. We went and talked to the casinos, and they said, yeah, we lose money all the time. We don't go out and kill people for the money.
But Tucson detective James Gamber had another lead. In December 1996, just weeks after Gary Triano's murder, his ex-wife, Pam Phillips, filed a life insurance claim, a big one.
There was a $2 million life insurance policy.
$2 million, more than enough reason for Detective Gamber to travel to Aspen, where he spoke to Pam face to face.
The money would go to Pam as the trustee. She's the only person, when you followed the money, that benefited at all.
There's nothing about me that would ever harm a person, ever. There was no money motive. There was no insurance motive.
Gamber questioned Pam. She told him she divorced Gary Triano, escaped from Tucson, and fled to Aspen, all because she was terrified.
There was things happening with him that I couldn't understand. He was off the wall.
And you moved because?
Because our lives were threatened. I mean, our lives were threatened. Gary feared everything. Gary was totally in fear. Going around with a gun.
But Pam's friend, Laura Chapman, has a different take.
Why did things go wrong in their marriage?
And when things started to go downward and the money was not going to be there anymore and that, the rich and famous lifestyle was going to be evaporating, I think she saw the writing on the wall and said, I don't think I want to be in this relationship anymore.
Pam tells this story with such conviction that she'd reached a point where she had to leave Gary because of the people he was dealing with, the threats to her family. Everyone was scared, and she had to move to Aspen to save her children.
That's absolutely ridiculous. That is not why she moved to Aspen.
Why'd she move to Aspen?
She was looking for her next ATM, her next bank. She was looking for somebody to provide her that lifestyle again.
After her divorce, Pam Phillips' old friend, Laura Chapman, says Pam was in the mood for love in Aspen.
Once she got to Colorado, what was Pam looking for in a man?
No, I think she was looking for is to make sure that he had basically a net worth probably of at least 10 million or more.
That was the aphrodisiac. That was the attraction.
Yeah, absolutely. It didn't really matter what they looked like, just as long as they had a lot of money.
Pam, as usual, gravitated to her people, the rich and famous. She became a successful real estate agent and resumed her life as a socialite. But she had one friend who didn't seem to fit the mold. His name was Ron Young.
I met him at a party next door, the duplex next door to me. Very tall. The guy is like a skyscraper. He was a business manager to people that were at this barbecue. And I could use some help with my business. And so that's kind of what ended up happening.
Pam says Ron helped her with her business interests, and she paid him cash. Pam owned an online company called Star Babies, making astrology charts for infants.
I hand wrote all the different planetary aspects to understand our children and be a better parent.
What was your relationship with Ron?
Strictly business, pretty much. I mean, doing business plans. He helped on pretty much everything, He helped a lot.
But Pam's nanny in Aspen told police that her relationship with Ron Young soon moved from the office to the bedroom.
Now, you're here to tell me the truth, right?
I'm here to tell you the truth.
Did your business relationship with Ron turn into a romantic relationship?
No, not really.
Because it's been alleged that you were lovers.
No.
Were you?
No, we were not lovers. God, this is like embarrassing. Could we have crashed out having wine, fully clothed, on a couch or on a bed? That might have happened once or twice. We were not lovers, no.
In the summer of 1996, Pam suddenly turned on her partner, accusing Ron Young of fraud, using her credit cards. When she called the cops, Ron disappeared. Several months later, in November of 1996, Gary Triano was blown up in his car.
The bomb blew off the roof and killed Triano only days before his 53rd birthday.
And in Aspen, a cop who dealt with Pam in the fraud case saw the bombing story on TV and called Tucson. Detective James Gamber took the call.
We get a call from Detective Crowley with the Aspen Police Department. And he says, hey, I have a suspect in a fraud case up in Aspen. His name is Ron Young, this gentleman right here.
Turns out that Ron Young had a criminal record.
Right, yes.
This was a new, intriguing lead, a link between Pam and a small-time crook.
Where it becomes more interesting is when we actually interview Pamela Phillips and we ask her, we say, who's Ron Young? And she basically minimizes his relationship to her. Oh, he's somebody who did some financial work for me. She doesn't talk about the fraud, and she is basically shaken by the question. I mean, visibly shaken by the question.
It's a bad movie. It's a nightmare. I would never kill Gary, the father of my children. It's just, I can't even stand it. I'm not even going to go there. It's just not real.
Pam may have been shaken and detectives suspicious, but they didn't yet have a case. What's worse, Ron Young was nowhere to be found. For 9 years, the case languished.
Another look at the frag pattern on this door.
Then, in 2005, the case heated up. The bomb expert Tony May and agent Tom Mangan of the ATF were reviewing cold cases. They took another look at the murder of Gary Triano.
Tell me what this bomb tells you about a potential suspect.
Well, it tells me quite a bit, actually, from the size of the battery to the fact that a remote control system was used. This is somebody that was familiar with model boats, model airplanes.
But they determined the bomb builder was an amateur.
You have sloppy solder points. In this case, the solder points were globbed on.
How was this 17-inch pipe bomb detonated?
Okay, using a remote control firing system.
You just buy this at a hobby shop?
Buy it in a hobby shop. And when he sees Mr. Triano get into the vehicle and get close proximity to the bomb, he initiates the device.
And boom.
And boom. Looking at the holes in the roof.
The experts were now sure. Because of the sloppy workmanship, the bomb was probably not the work of a mob hitman. As far as the cops were concerned, that took the gangster theory of the crime off the table for good.
Whose handwriting is this?
As he studied the files, Tucson detective James Gamber became more and more convinced the key to the case would be the relationship between Pam Phillips and the vanished con man, Ron Young. Then, in 2005, a break. Ron Young was arrested in Florida on fraud and gun charges. When police searched his apartment, they discovered something amazing. Ron Young was an obsessive record keeper. Gamber learned that during the 1990s, Young had received significant cash payments from a woman in Colorado.
Usually between $1,800 and $2,000.
The woman sent hundreds of thousands of dollars. Her name, Pam Phillips.
Why did she pay Ron Young $400,000?
You tell me.
Because she was paying him for the murder.
The murder?
Of Gary Triano.
Of Gary Triano.
Yes.
This has nothing to do with me. My children have to know this has nothing to do with me. I had nothing to do with the death of their father. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing.
But investigators have said you had 2 million reasons.
Like what?
$2 million in life insurance money.
I didn't even know that I had that.
Well, she needed money and she wanted to get Gary out of her life. So she reaches out to Ron Young, and basically, if you look at all the evidence collectively, says, if Gary dies, I get $2 million. If you kill him, I'll give you $400,000.
And for you, that's the motive of this crime.
Correct.
Ron Young didn't just keep extensive financial records, he also recorded dozens of hours of telephone conversations. Listen to this.
About enough to live on for about a year.
Well, how could you,
That's Ron Young talking to Pam.
If I ever found out that you compromised me for your benefit, it'd be really unfortunate for you because there's just plenty of stuff that I could literally dig out of the ground and you're a fried duck.
Then, investigators discovered this startling piece of audio tape.
Well, I tell you, you're going to be very serious when you sit in a women's prison for murder.
I only know of one murder that Pam Phillips is associated with.
Finish your thought.
That's Gary Triano. So what murder could they be talking about?
For Detective Gamber, this case was becoming one of sex, lies, and audio tape. But it all came together when an obscure police report from 1996 turned up. That was the same year Gary Triano was blown up. Back then, a rented van was found abandoned in Southern California. No one knew it at the time, but that van would contain some important circumstantial evidence. And guess who rented it? Ron Young.
They find basically a map of Tucson. As far as we know, Ron Young has no relationship to Tucson. There were several notes, one that lists out people that are very close to Gary Triano. We find a receipt for a local hotel. We find where he stayed there for 18 days under the name of Philip Desmond. Then we find some of the divorce paperwork from Pam and Gary's divorce. We find
with this new evidence that Young was in Tucson prior to the bombing, stalking Triano, Gamber now believed he had a case. And in October 2008, Ron Young was charged with Gary Triano's murder. Pam Phillips was next in Gamber's sights. By 2008, Pam Phillips had moved to Europe, Switzerland mostly, to be with her daughter who was a student there. Then there was a revelation.
It all came flooding back to me. It was like, oh my gosh, she really did do it.
Laura Chapman, Pam's old pal from Tucson, came forward to tell police a story she says she was too frightened to tell for 15 years.
Were you scared?
Yeah, I was scared.
Laura says that back in 1993, shortly after the Trianos separated, Pam said Gary was acting crazy one night, threatening her and waving a gun.
She called me and she called another woman to come over to their home, and she said, you know, I should just hire someone and have him taken out. And, you know, then I can collect on the insurance policy.
And for cops, Laura's story was the last piece of the puzzle. In October 2008, Pam Phillips and Ron Young were indicted on the same day for conspiracy and murder. It would take a year before Pam was tracked down in Europe, now in Austria, and arrested. It would be another year before she was extradited to the U.S. in 2010.
So we agree on 1.27.
As all this was happening, Pam's partner, Ron Young, stood trial.
There's no gunpowder in here.
He denied everything and never implicated Pam. But in the end, those records and audio tapes did him in.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Ronald Kelly Young, guilty of the offense of first-degree murder.
And then, back in Arizona,
in Division 27 of the Superior Court,
it was Pam Phillips's turn.
This is your arraignment, those are your charges.
But then, a major delay. Pam's lawyers claimed she was mentally unfit to stand trial.
Pam, is it true that you once believed that you had some sort of computer chip or brain implants put in that was controlling your thoughts and actions?
Let's just put it this way. I was a mess. I was a mess. I was a mess.
Finally, on February 19, 2014,
this time we're going to be hearing opening statements from the attorneys.
17 years after Gary Triano's murder, Tucson's trial of the century began.
It is time to hold Pamela Phillips responsible for her crimes. It is time to find Pamela Phillips guilty.
The prosecution case was straightforward. Pam was portrayed as a financially desperate woman, willing to kill her husband for that $2 million life insurance policy.
The only person who stood to gain any benefit from Gary Triano's death was Pamela Phillips.
The prosecution's star witness was Laura Chapman,
I remember saying
who told that damning story of Pam wanting to hire someone to take out her husband.
Is Pam looking at you while you are testifying?
I don't know, Peter, because I never ever looked at her.
Pam was outraged by Laura's story.
That she should just hire a hitman, have him taken out.
No, and no. Those words would not come out of my mouth ever. Ever. Ever.
And there's one more thing Pam wants people to know about Laura Chapman, that she had a medical condition that affected her memory.
Poor girl, she had a brain tumor. Something happened to her medically.
That is so ridiculous. First of all, I didn't have a brain tumor when she told me this. That happened many years later. It'll be 9 years this month. And it does not affect my memory one bit. My memory is perfect.
The leads that they dropped.
Pam's defense was simple. Someone else did it.
Who killed Gary Triano?
Neil McNeese, I believe.
Pam's attorney, Paul Eckerstrom, says the angry millionaire had the motive and the ability. He says that makes a lot more sense than the notion that Ron Young built the bomb.
Ron Young couldn't even fix a flashlight or screw in a light bulb, as far as I can tell. We found out who did this, and we've got strong evidence of who did this, and it wasn't Pam, and it wasn't Ronald Young. It was people that were involved with organized crime.
But the tapes recorded by Ron Young himself haunted the defense.
Well, I tell you, you're going to be very serious when you sit in a women's prison for murder.
The problems with these tapes, they're spliced and diced, we believe. They were never authenticated by any expert.
The defense argues that if you listen to the entire audio tape, it's obvious that Ron Young is talking about his own medical problems, and that if Pam didn't give him money for treatment, she'd be murdering him.
I'm the one who's dying. I have a need. You have my principal. I want a little bit of it so I can proceed.
Eckerstrom says the true story behind most of the tapes was extortion. Ron Young was just trying to get money out of Pam.
What he had on Pam was the fact that she had a reputation in Aspen to protect. It was a small town. She was a real estate agent. She needed her reputation.
According to the defense, Pam was afraid that Ron would spread the news that she was being investigated in the death of her ex-husband. If Pam paid him, Ron would keep his mouth shut.
You're talking about a guy who's an extortionist. This is what he does.
He's squeezing Pam, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
trying
he's
to get money
squeezing
out of
Pam.
her.
With a minor in chemistry.
Finally, Pam's defense presented what they were convinced would be a knockout blow. Something discovered among the bomb fragments.
We found DNA on the bomb.
DNA, the CSI moment. Would it work?
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
In the end, the bomb which killed Gary Triano came back to center stage.
I thought once we had this, we won the case.
The defense claimed they discovered dramatic new DNA evidence.
This is one of the places we found it embedded in the wood. We excluded Ronald Young as the bomb maker.
And if Ron Young didn't do it, then Pam is innocent.
So this is a CSI moment as far as you're concerned, right?
Yeah. And, you know, we don't have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Pam's innocent. All we need to do is create a reasonable doubt.
After 8 weeks of trial,
You have to tell the state, don't charge somebody with scant innuendo and insinuation.
the defense had bottom-lined their case. Pam didn't do the crime, someone else did. And that man was the drug-crazed millionaire who thought Triano cheated him, Neil McNeese.
The defense has a pretty simple theory. Neil McNeese is the killer. What do you say?
That they don't have any foundation or any solid factual basis to make that allegation.
They claim McNeese had underworld ties, he had a kill list, and Gary Triano was on the top of that list?
Correct. And do they have that list? No.
They also didn't have McNeese. He died back in 2002 of a drug overdose. And they didn't have the alleged bomb maker, Jerry Capuano, either. he's dead too.
It's rather convenient, yes. It's always nice to accuse somebody who can't defend themselves.
As for star witness Laura Chapman and her story that Pam once talked about hiring someone to kill Gary,
That she should just hire a hitman.
the defense says it never happened.
There's a problem with your story in that the woman that was with you and Pam that day in the bedroom says she doesn't remember Pam saying this.
That is not true. That is not true. I think she perjured herself. I think she knows exactly what was said.
If the state is required to prove that...
Of course, all of this was left up to the jury. And after 13 hours of deliberation, the jury spoke.
To find the defendant, Pamela Ann Phillips, guilty of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder as alleged in count 1 of the indictment.
When you heard the words guilty, guilty of conspiracy, guilty of first-degree murder.
It's a complete frame. Here I said, and I am innocent. And the people that killed Gary Triano are out walking around.
All right, let's go on the record in CR 2008.
1 month later, back in court,
Ms. Phillips, would you give us your full name, please?
Pamela Ann Phillips.
Pam is sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole.
I just want everybody to know that I am innocent. I am innocent. I am innocent. I'm not that person that
You're not that evil, greedy, money-grubbing person who would even kill for money.
I would never harm anybody.
It's gut-wrenching for me because I don't just think she's innocent. I know she is.
2 juries have heard this evidence and 2 juries have convicted, Ron Young and Pam Phillips.
Right.
Aren't you the one who's wrong here?
No. You know why they were convicted? Juries believe that you're probably guilty these days because the state would never have brought the case otherwise. That's the way they think.
Eckerstrom also blames the media. He says because of pretrial publicity and what he calls inaccurate media reports, he thinks the jury probably made up its mind before trial.
Pam didn't have a chance going in.
We had 1,000 suspects.
As for Detective Gamber, the man who spent 18 years trying to crack this case, it all came down to the hitman with an obsessive need to keep records of everything.
Do you think there would have been a conviction without those audio tapes?
No.
So Ron, the con man, did himself in.
He convicted both of them.
This is a travesty of our whole judicial system. This could happen to anybody.
You feel like you've been railroaded.
Totally. Totally. I'm innocent. I am very, very, very innocent.
Step in, close the door.
Is it weird to you, the person that you socialized with, hung out with celebrities, Donald Trump, the travel, the fun, the parties, the balls, the fancy dress, the lifestyle, is now a convicted murderer?
Yeah, it's hard to believe that somebody could stoop so low.
In the end, Pam Phillips will sit alone in a cell. Her grown children didn't even come to her trial. There will be no more ski trips with the Trumps, or golf getaways, or Vegas weekends. There is just the prospect of life in prison, alone with her belief that the system is rigged and that she is the innocent victim.
"48 Hours" presents.
This is Officer the Houston Police Department, Major Offenders Division, Career Criminal Squad.
Hey, my name is Valerie McDaniel. I've always tried to be an honest, kind person. I've tried to live the best life I can.
Valerie wound up being the top of the class.
The valedictorian?
The valedictorian in our 1987 high school graduating class. She sure did.
My name is Megan. She's my second cousin. She's generous and creative, smart, nice and sweet. She would always take care of my dog.
I wasn't sure if I should be a vet anymore, and Valerie brought that passion back. I know that Valerie made an audio recording of all of her memorable moments in life.
I met, through friends, a man named Mac McDaniel. And I thought he was the cutest thing. Tall and skinny with his boots.
Valerie and Mac lived a lavish lifestyle.
A high-end life, you know, a life of luxury, a life of beauty.
Great cars. Valerie had a Mercedes. Her daughter went to a great school. They worked a lot. That was a big thing. They'd both be working and...
But did they seem happy together?
Yeah, it seemed great.
One morning at work, there was a note on my desk that said, Dr. McDaniel, call Miss Brown. She said, I've been your husband's lover.
It tore her up. Divorce is never an easy thing. She met Leon.
A medical doctor. He actually went to the same school I did. A little bit of ER, but then also like cardio and transplant.
I looked at him and smiled, and he smiled back, and just a beautiful person.
Her face, her smile, she had this outwardly exuberance of energy that I really can't describe.
She fell for Leon. She was madly in love with him.
We were planning on getting married. Mac always wanted more, at the detriment of their daughter.
My name is Motaz Aziz, and Leon Jacob tried to hire me as a hitman.
In the car, did he give you $2,500?
Yeah, he paid the $2,500.
In cash?
Yes, in cash, right.
And what did you see on his face?
Excitement. He was enjoying it. Like, he actually was excited about the whole thing.
I could never hurt the man that my daughter loves so much.
The male subject, he's gone. He's done. All right.
This has been a long, drawn-out story that's led to an unbelievable conclusion.
When he came into my office, he shut the door. He said, "I'm Dr. Leon Jacob." I felt like I was talking to Satan himself.
"48 Hours, Operation Murder," reported by Peter Van Sant.
Yes, ma'am. It's going to be a major offenders investigation.
It's 3 a.m. on Friday, March 10th, 2017. Houston police are making their way to the 7th floor condo of beloved veterinarian Valerie McDaniel. Bad doesn't begin to describe what's about to be revealed.
Greg's husband's been found. It looks like it turns out to be a fatality.
Valerie ex-husband Mac, police tell her, was dead just 6 months after their divorce had become final.
Do you have anybody you can call to help you, to stay with you?
But how could Valerie's life have arrived at this dreadful moment? Valerie earned her degree in veterinary medicine at Texas A&M. It was during that time she met Mac McDaniel, Valerie's friend, Greg Holloway.
My impression of Mac is that he was a good man. He was a stand-up guy.
Mac proposed, and Valerie had the man of her dreams, as she describes in that recording of her memories.
We did get married. We had a beautiful fairy tale wedding. Moved into a house that my parents had bought for me to live in.
Not long after that, Valerie decided to open her own clinic. Valerie's cousin, Cody Bernard.
I admired her. It sunk something inside of me. I want to do that one day, something big, you know.
Mac was her office manager, but even as the vet clinic thrived, the two longed for something more.
She said she couldn't have any children, so the only option was to adopt.
In 2008, the couple adopted a daughter when she was just 2 days old. But as their new family came together, their marriage began to fall apart. It started, Valerie says, with a phone call from a stranger, the woman who claimed to have been Mac's lover. But Valerie says that wasn't all.
She gave me lists of women that he had slept with.
Valerie says she confronted Mac and forgave him, but claims it wasn't long before Mac cheated again.
And that was the first time I ever said the word divorce, and I yelled it at him outside, and I yelled it and I yelled it.
Valerie says she forgave Mac yet again, but then a chance encounter would change the course of her life. Leon Jacob, the son of Valerie's neighbor, Golda Jacob, stopped by.
He ran up to me and stuck his hand out and introduced himself. The cockiest mother ever met in my life.
Valerie was in her mid-40s, but she was stunning, both inside and out.
The attraction was mutual.
You could tell he knew how beautiful he was. And I was lonely.
Leon Jacob was 8 years younger than Valerie and a doctor.
What type of surgeries have you done?
All kinds of surgeries. I've assisted in heart, kidney, pancreas, transplants.
With a strained home life and an attractive new friend, what happened next may have been inevitable.
And he sat across from me and we had some wine, and I had my feet out on the chair next to him. And just out of the blue, he reached out and just ran his finger up my left foot, and that was it. It was like a movie moment.
It's quite an interlude, according to what she described.
Yeah, compliments all around, I guess.
In December 2014, Valerie filed for divorce, claiming Mac committed adultery. Mac's attorneys told us Mac had no comment about the divorce petition and the claims Valerie made in her audio diary. Between Mac's alleged cheating and Valerie's new love interest, both wanted out of the marriage. The divorce was finalized in August 2016. Valerie and her daughter then moved into this building in the upscale River Oaks section of Houston. Not long after, Leon joined them here.
The relationship really blossomed quickly because we had been very close friends for so long.
Dr. Brittany King worked alongside Valerie at the vet clinic.
I seem very much in love, holding hands and loving towards each other.
But there was one old problem in Valerie and Leon's new relationship, and his name was Mac.
There were multiple times in the clinic where she would just be in tears. Was everything okay? And it was something surrounding her ex-husband.
Mac had found out that Leon was staying with me.
There'd be arguments or stuff with the child, visitation.
But Leon had his own issues with past loves, one involving extreme mental cruelty and another assault and stalking charges.
Leon Jacob is a predator. He's scary.
Samantha Connect is a Harris County Assistant District Attorney.
He wants what he wants, and he'll stop at nothing to get it.
Could there be more to Valerie's new love than she can imagine?
He has no problem using women. In fact, I think he enjoys it.
Valerie McDaniel's new live-in boyfriend grew up in a Texas-sized world of beauty, opulence, and opportunity.
I always wanted to be a doctor my whole life, ever since I was about 3 or 4.
As he pursued his degrees, Leon met and married his college sweetheart. They had 2 boys.
We had a happy, loving family. I got 2 great kids, 2 boys. They're the most important things to me in my life.
A good family, and now with an MD after his name, Leon was well on his way. But Leon's picture-perfect life disguised a troubled relationship. After 12 years of marriage, his wife filed for divorce, citing extreme mental cruelty. And 1 year later, Leon was arrested for stalking his now ex.
Leon has to be in control. When his ex-wife went to end their relationship, he wasn't going to have it, and he wasn't going to go down without a fight.
Leon, isn't it true that you've had brushes with the law involving stalking, cyber stalking, intimidation, physical harassment, assault? Aren't all those true?
I pled guilty to a attempted cyber harassment charge that was stemming from an acrimonious divorce that I went through with my previous wife.
Leon admits that he called often, but he claims it was simply to speak with his boys.
I tried desperately to contact my kids over and over and over again, and I'm not going to apologize for that.
Leon finally moved on to a new residency and was living in Pittsburgh, where he met this woman, 33-year-old Megan Veracas.
I met Megan in a hotel in Pittsburgh. She was the assistant general manager there.
The new couple moved to Houston. There were lavish vacations, family get-togethers, and yet another residency, Leon's 7th.
He's a failed doctor. He's been kicked out of every residency program he's ever been a part of.
And what's the problem? What was the basis of these dismissals, do you know?
The belief that he was the smartest guy in the room, inability to get along with people, inability to get along with patients. And in fact, one of the records that we found said that they believed that he was a danger to patients and that he would be a liability for them to keep around.
3 years into their relationship, Megan Veracas thought Leon was a threat to her too. Megan kicked Leon out of their apartment, later accusing him of assaulting her.
She wanted me to move all my stuff out. She came there and was very hostile. The police were called. There was no violence of any kind. And a day later, she claimed that I had hit her.
And that you'd put your hand over her mouth.
Yeah, which is not true.
Leon is about Leon.
Smile, Megan, smile.
It frustrated him to no end that Megan Veracas would not forgive him. And the fact that he couldn't get Megan back frustrated him and angered him.
Leon was arrested in February 2017 for assault and stalking.
You can charge anybody with anything. It doesn't mean that you're guilty of that.
The DA's office has been on this case since its inception. We helped.
Prosecutors are convinced that Leon knew his future as a doctor would be destroyed if Megan testified against him. So they believe he planned a little operation to make his pain go away.
He feels like if Megan disappears, if she goes away, that his criminal case will go away and he can resume his career as this beloved surgeon that he thinks that he is.
Prosecutors claim Leon decided what he needed was a hitman, and he thought he'd found one.
Taz, Are you a hitman?
No.
Were you ever willing to murder anyone for money?
No. I would never do something like that.
Taz Azay was introduced to Leon by a mutual acquaintance.
Did Leon ever tell you how he wanted his ex-girlfriend to be killed?
Yes, he actually offered suggestions. One of them was a syringe to the heart with potassium would give her a heart attack, and that would actually kill her.
Taz is a decorated former U.S. Army soldier who saw Leon's deadly demand as an opportunity to save a life.
I saw somebody in danger, and I knew that I can do something about it, and I did something about it.
Leon knew Taz by the code name Zach. He says Leon wanted him to kidnap Megan, first to talk her into taking him back, and if that didn't work, leaving town. But that wasn't all.
If she doesn't leave, what are you gonna do? And he was like, I want you to kill her.
I'm not going to comment on any of this. It's just ridiculous.
Taz says Leon paid him $9,000, which he happily spent.
To be honest, I don't feel bad that I spent Jacob's money. Matter of fact, I feel really good I spent his money.
Then the man Leon knew as Zach vanished.
Leon Jacob was one of the most unique individuals I'd ever met.
Bail bondsman Michael Kubosh.
This guy was focused, was very intimidating. Didn't shake my hand, just wanted to know one thing. I want Zach's number. He said, I've paid Zach a lot of money to take care of this. I felt like I was talking to the devil himself.
Tucked away on a side street in Houston is perhaps the most colorful bail bondsman in all of Texas.
Having hung out a bit with you, you are the Elvis of bail bondsmen. You have substance.
His name is Michael Kubosh.
These are people that we're looking for, fugitives.
And he understands the criminal mind.
I deal with the nicest, the kindest, and the meanest people on the face of the earth. I've bonded out judges, prostitutes, preachers, missionaries.
He's also a larger-than-life member of the Houston City Council, who helped save lives during Hurricane Harvey.
I can see you've been really working hard.
I know all the major law enforcement people in the whole county.
Leon had stormed into Kubosh's office.
He said, I've paid Zach a lot of money to take care of this. I said, take care of what? He said, I want her out of the picture. And she can't be testifying against me.
Out of the picture.
Out of the picture. I believe that he meant ill toward this woman. And that's why I called the chief.
The chief of?
The chief of police in Houston, Texas.
A search for the mysterious Zach was triggered, and investigators quickly learned his real name, Taz Azay, a name that Kubosh did recognize as a former military man who is facing a misdemeanor theft charge for stealing from his roommate.
He was on bond with me. He was still free.
It took Houston police about a week to find Taz, and that's when things got really interesting.
To me, Taz seemed genuinely concerned for Megan.
This man is an undercover officer with the Houston Police Department who goes by the name Detective Javier.
He didn't want to see her hurt.
So Taz agreed to participate in a sting operation to help catch Leon Jacob in the act of soliciting a murder.
Hello?
Hey, what's up, man?
How you doing, buddy?
Taz told Leon that he felt he had grown too close to him and Valerie and thought it best to hire another hitman. And he knew just the right guy.
Can you meet me tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll clear my schedule, no problem.
The next day, Taz would introduce Leon to his new hitman, undercover detective Javier. But before Taz could hang up, Leon dropped a bomb.
We're taking care of both problems.
What, both problems?
Both of the individuals that we're talking about.
Okay.
Valerie McDaniel, Leon's new girlfriend, the mild-mannered veterinarian who friends had described as an angel, wanted her ex-husband murdered.
Valerie wants to talk to you about what she wants to do with her ex-husband.
Okay, that's good. All right, just bring her with you tomorrow.
The next day, Leon and Valerie met with Taz and Detective Javier at this Olive Garden to discuss the fate of both their exes over lunch.
The entire operation was recorded.
The meeting lasted nearly 2 hours and began with Leon's target, Megan.
I don't want you to hurt her, but I want her to go.
He told me that he wanted me to run her off the road and threaten her, but then he would say to me, if she does not understand that, then you do what you have to do.
If those options don't work, I don't give a then we gotta do what we gotta do.
There was no doubt in my mind that Leon wanted Megan killed.
The subject then turned to Valerie's target, her ex-husband, Mac.
Say if something would happen to him, what would it be? Would it be like a car wreck or?
It could be a car wreck. It could be a robbery gone wrong. She was under the belief that I was going to carjack him and I was going to put a bullet in his head, which is exactly what I told her I was going to do. But you need to give me the go ahead. You want to do that?
He's gonna take my daughter.
The next day, March 9th, 2017, Detective Javier called Leon to say he had good news that he insisted on delivering in person.
How are you, my friend?
He went to their home where he informed them Mac was dead. Neither wanted to see this photo, which seemed to show Mac with a gunshot to the head. When Valerie got the news that her husband was dead, was she emotional about it? Did she say, oh my God, I never wanted to go this far?
She did not show that.
What they didn't know is that Mac was alive and well. He'd posed for those photos as part of this elaborate sting operation. Believing Mac was dead, Leon set his sights on Megan.
So you're gonna snatch her and you're gonna bring her somewhere and talk to her.
That's the plan.
If I need to show up, you call me.
Later that night, these staged photographs of Megan were texted to Leon, and he was told she was so out of control, she had to be killed.
She's dead. She's gone.
I don't want to know anything.
On that scale of good to evil, in your mind, what is Leon Jacob?
Leon is a very evil person. He was willing to do whatever he needed to do to survive.
It was probably around 2 or 3 in the morning.
On March 10th, 2017, Valerie McDaniel and her live-in boyfriend Leon Jacob get a wake-up call from Sergeant Frank Quinn that will soon lead to an Oscar-winning performance.
What's going on?
She lets them inside, but she feigns surprise. She can't understand why they're there.
Remember, just hours before, Detective Javier, posing as a hitman, had told her that Mac was dead. But now Valerie has to convince police she is hearing it for the first time.
Sorry to have to tell you. Have you heard from him recently?
She pretends to be upset. She puts her head in her hands. She sits down and she acts like she's completely shocked and surprised that her ex-husband is dead.
Is your boyfriend here with you? You think he can kind of be a little help to us now?
This surreal scene, caught by the body cameras of Houston police, is about to reach its climax.
We were hoping you could help us. We had to deliver some bad news to her. Our ex-husband's been robbery gone wrong. We're just trying to if anybody knows anything or
No,
might be able to help us.
Are you okay, baby? We've been here all night. We were here all day with their daughter, and we were watching movies. We haven't been out of the house all day except.
Then the cops decide to call cut on all this bad acting.
Right now, we're going to read you your rights. Me? Because both of you are being arrested for solicitation of capital murder.
It is only then that the couple learns that both their intended targets are alive and well.
I don't know why I'm being arrested.
Leon is led out.
Can I get a sweatshirt? I'm already cold.
And Valerie has a much bigger concern. Her daughter, who's been asleep in the apartment this whole time. Although not caught on camera, Mac arrives to pick up their 8-year-old.
And what did Valerie say to her?
You know, something along the lines of just, you know, taking you to your daddy's outside and he's going to take you. And it was very benign and, you know, just normal as could be.
And so all of a sudden on the news media came the arrest of 2 doctors.
A Houston woman and her boyfriend were charged with trying to have their exes killed.
And I'm laying there thinking, well, that's not the Valerie I know. And they show the film of her going up for her arraignment.
Did you about fall out of your chair?
That almost rolled out of the bed.
Because Leon has those other pending charges related to Megan, he doesn't make bail. But Valerie does.
Valerie was rushed out the jail alongside family after
and goes home to wait for the legal process to play out.
I remember texting her throughout the week and calling her and constantly sending her, I love you, you know, we can get through this. So happy you're out.
Valerie's veterinary license got suspended because of the charges. Brittany says Valerie was weighed down by her arrest and the prospect she wouldn't be seeing her daughter for a long, long time. She visited Valerie at her high-rise condo.
But I remember giving her a hug goodbye, and I just felt the life in the eyes was not there.
It's weird, things, it wasn't like bam, 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 progression. Things just gradually happened.
2 weeks after the shock and shame of being charged with solicitation of capital murder, Valerie McDaniel used her iPad,
March 25th, it's been a few days,
to record her side of the story.
I didn't wake up one day and just say, hey, I want to kill my ex-husband.
For Valerie, everything she loved was slipping away.
I want to talk to my daughter. I want to talk to Leon. I'm just not strong enough. I wish I were. I just can't do it. I just can't do it.
2 days after her final recording, on March 27, 2017, Valerie, who once seemed unstoppable, did the unthinkable. She climbed over this very railing and jumped 7 stories to her death.
She wanted me to be home with her and we were going to get through this. And it was devastating and shocking.
I think that she was in a very vulnerable position when she met Leon Jacob. But I think he influenced her and brainwashed her.
I'm innocent. And as a human being and as a physician, that thought of killing somebody else just goes against everything in my nature.
It really depends on what they find.
Leon has hired one of the top defense attorneys in Texas, George Parnham, who says Valerie McDaniel was the one calling all the shots.
I'm sorry for her demise, but I believe that Valerie is and was responsible for this entire scenario.
That she was the driver. She was the financier of all of this.
That is my understanding.
The question now, what will a jury think? On March 20th, 2018, a week before the first anniversary of Valerie's suicide,
This is the state of Texas versus Leon Philip Jacob.
Leon alone stands trial on 2 counts of solicitation of capital murder.
One of the things you'll learn about Leon Jacobs is he has to be in control. Mac was going to die, and Megan was going to die.
Cameron Callaghan is Samantha Connect's co-prosecutor. He says Leon's motive was clear.
There was 2 obstacles to the defendant's new life with Valerie McDaniel. It was Mac, and it was Megan. Mac could keep Valerie away from him by making Valerie choose between the defendant and her daughter, and Megan could make him end up in prison.
George Parnham's co-counsel, Matthew Pospisil, claims that it was the undercover officer whose identity we're protecting by calling Detective Javier who pushed Valerie and Leon to make a deadly choice.
If it was not for Officer trying to make this into a television story and force his own narrative, Leon would not be forced here today to tell his story.
All right, thank you all. Please be seated. Let's continue.
Testimony begins with some of the early stops on this long road to justice, starting with Megan.
He didn't want her to testify against him, and he had paid somebody a lot of money to make sure that she wouldn't be here to testify against him.
He actually wanted me to make her disappear. Basically, he wanted her gone, like that.
Call your next witness, please.
Before the trial concludes, 2 potential victims will rise from the dead to take the stand.
Could you please introduce yourself to the members of our jury?
And the jury will hear from Leon, who says he's only guilty of being a Casanova.
I have no problem sitting here and saying that I slept with Valerie 7 days after Megan and I broke up. But I'm not on trial for being a womanizer. I'm on trial for solicitation of capital murder. So you can assassinate my character all you want up here. It doesn't make me guilty of what you've charged me with.
One of the prosecution's strongest witnesses, Megan Veracos, Leon's ex-girlfriend, who had filed assault charges against him in January 2017, takes the stand.
It was a long time coming. I tried to leave several times.
She recalls Leon coming to the house where she was staying just after the alleged incident.
I obviously didn't want to be near him, so I hid in a closet.
Why did you hide in a closet?
Because I was afraid of Leon. He came in and was screaming and yelling, and he said, "I know that bitch is here."
Megan says Leon kept pursuing her when she was at work.
He was in the bushes outside on a cell phone, waiting for me.
And when she drove to her new home.
At that point, I called 911 to let them know that, my ex-boyfriend who assaulted me was in a car behind me. And then at some point, Leon had gotten out of his vehicle in front of mine, just yelling and waving his hands, saying, just talk to me, I need to talk to you.
Leon was arrested a second time on stalking charges on February 16th, 2017. Less than 10 days after that, Megan was contacted by police and warned her life could be in danger. She fled to her hometown of Pittsburgh, but police soon called her to return to Houston to be part of that sting operation.
I sat in a chair in a warehouse, and they zip-tied my hands and my feet and put duct tape around my mouth to make me look as if I had been kidnapped. I was crying and really upset.
Next, it was Valerie's ex-husband, Mac McDaniel's turn.
We were married for 17 years and divorced in 2016.
He recalled finding out his ex-wife was living with Leon.
What was your initial reaction to that?
My initial reaction was not good.
And why was that?
Because I was aware of his history, his criminal history.
Did you convey to Valerie that you did not want the defendant around your daughter on the weeks that she had custody?
Yes, ma'am.
And did she agree to that?
She did.
At some point, did you learn that she was not abiding by the agreement?
I did.
Mac tells the jury he too was notified he was the target of a murder plot. Then the prosecution shows the jury that photo.
Can you describe for the members of the jury what you're doing here?
Staging my own death.
Did they pour blood on you?
Pig's blood.
3 days into the 5-day-long trial, it's the defense's turn. They call their star witness.
I never asked anybody to kill anybody.
Does the word kill, hurt, harm in any way, shape, or form appear in any of those recorded conversations?
Not on my behalf, except for to exclude them from things I want done. I never asked to have anybody hurt, killed, harmed, kidnapped, or I never asked for anybody to be in any way physically hurt.
But the prosecution says that's not true.
She's dead. She's gone.
I don't want anything.
And they claim those undercover tapes back that up.
Did you not want anybody hurt when you said, inject her with potassium chloride, stop her heart, untraceable?
I said that was something you could do. I didn't say that for him to do that.
Did you recall telling the undercover officer, if those options don't work, I don't give a then you gotta do what you gotta do because my survival is more important?
Yes.
Leon's own words come back to haunt him, regarding Mac as well. After the undercover officer proposed a fatal carjacking,
It could be a robbery going on.
Leon offered $10,000 in 4 weekly installments.
So you're agreeing to give him $2,500 just after he tells you, I'm gonna put a bullet in his head and throw him on the street.
If that's what you say.
Well, that's in the recording. It's not what I say. It's what Javier and you said, right?
I guess.
Leon and the defense team tried to make their point that the undercover officer was pressuring them into making deadly decisions.
I kept on telling them I didn't want anybody hurt, and they kept on going back to the theme of killing people. I felt a lot of pressure from them to sort of commit to this idea of killing people, and that was never my intent.
Were you asking them just to threaten people?
Essentially, yes.
Did you actually want any harm to come to anybody?
No.
But the prosecution points out that when Leon thought Megan was tied up and refusing to cooperate, he did nothing to stop the lethal final step.
You'd agree with me that you never said, no, I don't want you to do anything. Stop this. You didn't say anything like that, did you?
No.
The jury gets the case.
Has the jury reached unanimous verdicts?
And takes just an hour and 15 minutes before returning to the courtroom.
Will the jury find the defendant Leon Philip Jacob guilty of solicitation of capital murder as charged in the indictment?
Leon is found guilty on both counts of conspiring to have Megan and Mac killed. The trial moves to the sentencing phase. The same jury that found Leon guilty will decide his punishment. New testimony begins.
I have no sense of trust. Just constantly afraid that something else is going to happen.
The only thing that might impact Leon's sentence more than the words of his ex-girlfriend may end up being the words of his ex-wife.
The state calls Annie Morrison.
Annie Morrison has flown in from Chicago to testify.
Yes, there was a time that we got into a fight and he pulled a knife on me. There was one time he pushed my head down onto the counter and bruised my face near my eye.
Annie recounts an incident she says occurred when she was 7 months pregnant with their second child.
He threatened to punch me in the stomach. He kicked my legs. I remember bringing my legs up as far as I could toward my chest to try to protect my stomach. He threatened that if I ever left, that he would kill me. He said that nobody would ever find my body because he was a doctor and he had access to chemicals that would dissolve my body.
Annie did leave, moving to her parents' home in Chicago. That's when Leon started threatening her parents.
Thank you, Judge. May I publish State's Exhibit number 81 to the jury?
As the jury heard in this recording Annie made of a phone call with Leon.
The defendant, please stand.
The jury took just 1 hour to decide Leon Jacobs' sentence. Life in prison on each count. Solicitation of capital murder for Megan Veracruz and Mac McDaniel.
Victim impact statement, please.
In Texas, the victim impact statements come after the sentence. Megan takes the stand one last time.
You will never see your children grow up. You will not be a part of their lives, and they will be better for it. You destroyed me financially and took away my sense of security, but you can do that no more. While you sit in jail, I hope you think of me, the girl that you called poor and uneducated, because it's because of me you will be in prison for life.